One of the biggest questions in Pokemon Unite has been answered by the developers. Why can't we see the score inside the game? Kotaku is bringing us the answers with a direct response from Timmy Studios, so that is what we are going to be breaking down. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts down below. So Pokemon Unite hides score to stop players from rage quitting. The developers say it's not just rage quitting, it's also just giving up in general, which isn't necessarily a rage quit, some tilt. So we got some fluff in the beginning of the article, but here's where it goes. The match lasts 10 minutes, and players have the possibility of making a comeback, so we wanted people to play without giving up to the very end. And I think like very end is kind of loose, because if you lose Zapdos while already behind, that's it. That's the very end. The game is over at 9 minutes at that point instead of 10. But I do believe that. Like, the game has some absurd comeback potential, and the amount of throws that have happened at Zapdos is insane, and it seems like it's by design that Pokemon Unite is still kind of aiming for a more casual MOBA audience. Whether or not that's working, or whether or not like that's playing out in Pokemon Unite's favor, that's up for debate. But as you can see, the devs are like, yeah, we want Zapdos to be this strong, because if the team's already winning, they're going to win regardless with Zapdos. But leaving that chance for like players to come back and have a good feel-good moment inside seems like it's a pretty high priority, and that's why they want to keep the score hidden. So yeah, the Unite producer told Kotaku in an email when asked about why the scoreboard is kept hidden. Now, there really isn't much to the rest of the article, and it's actually pretty trash, because, like, prior to that, a big update in September all but kneecapped the game's pay-to-win mechanics. Well, the game wasn't pay-to-win, and using kneecap, like, that just seems like a really weird way of classifying it, because you can still pay to get level 30s, like 3 level 30 item enhancers, 4 when you actually play the game a lot, and then you're 5th at, like, the end of the rank season. Like, that makes sense, but I mean, talking about the, like, one of the biggest questions remains on how the economy will continue to change. No, that's not a big question. That doesn't matter. We're really just here to find out why the devs don't hide the score, and so far that's like the only answer we have. Then we are constantly listening to our fans. As a part of that, we have implemented the held item enhancer tickets and trial tickets in the September update to make the process of picking held items more enjoyable and rewarding to players. That has definitely worked out really well. It is funny though, because people will still like instantly get the item that they wanted to level 30 and then keep like the 7-day trial and then realize like 6 days in, oh, maybe I wasted my item enhancers on Score Shield, a trash item or something like that. So, you know, it's still like better than it was before, but yeah, we got some changes. But I do want to kind of sit on this a bit more, because I think that players are stupid if they think that we should be able to see the score throughout the match. And like, we do get the hints. It does tell you like, hey, we're ahead, or it's a close game, or we're struggling to keep up. I think that's more than enough, because for the most part, if you have perfect information, you would know the scores, but it's hard to like really keep track of. But you can get a good gauge as to what's going on. And yeah, I feel like players are too quick to surrender in a lot of cases, or they also give up a lot really too easily. And the language inside of the game also suggests that like, it seems like this is a very big point that the devs want to make, when it's like, we're struggling to keep up, not, man, it's over, you guys have lost, or like, we're losing badly. It's like, no, we're struggling to keep up, we're still in it though, you know, we're keeping up, you just gotta try a little harder to get the game, you know. And I personally like that the scores are hidden, not really for that reason, because honestly, even though that's the devs' intent, I think players are just too stupid to utilize that to the fullest, and they end up giving up sooner when it's a winnable game in some situations. But I think overall, it is a positive change. It's just not being handled by the player base, because the player base is pretty scuffed in Pokemon Unite. So that's kind of like my take on it. I'm like, yeah, you don't need the score, just keep focusing Dreadnought, just keep playing for the Zapdos, and you can come back. Like that's the thing, like the score should be irrelevant to your game. Well, it shouldn't be, because like you still have to like find ways of getting back in, but overall, like the way that Pokemon Unite plays out is like, you should still keep playing optimal Pokemon Unite, and really until the last minute, that's like the only change where it's like, oh, should I be defending or should I be trying to score? And it does create more of a knowledge gap, to where if you have a good idea of where you stand in the game without like the score being blasted to you, you have to think a little bit more. You kind of have to like figure out what to do in that. And if you're paying attention, you know, if you're not using the scoreboard as a crutch, and you're still trying to consider the game regardless, then that's actually going to help you out, and that's why I like it. It rewards players for not being lazy or entitled and just being like, I don't see the score, let's just quit. You know, but if you're actually still playing for it, it's like, I think we're still in this. You know, if you still keep positive because of that, like, all right, then we got something. Really, the game entirely breaks down to Zapdos, and that's where, like, Kotaku talking about this, you know, in either case, the design philosophy appears to be working. Pokemon Unite players don't always surrender, despite having the option to. Sources close to Kotaku, which are Kotaku, are claiming, and this is also one of, like, the worst articles ever written about Pokemon Unite, because, you know, y'all should really consider throwing up the white flag sometimes, even when we're seriously struggling. Nah, if you're struggling and Zapdos is still out there, there's always a chance to come back. Like, yeah, if you lose Zapdos while behind, then that's when you throw the surrender vote. And teams that don't, I don't understand that. But for the most part, it seems like people are reasonable when it comes to the game being over. But this guy, it seems like he lost lane, or he's not that good of a player, so it's like if he's slightly behind by 5 minutes, he just wants to next. And that's not the mentality to have, but fortunately, like, a lot of people just kind of took this article as a joke. Yeah, like, this is crazy, you know, and that's a shame, particularly when the comeback seems unlikely. You know what I'm talking about. Actually, I don't. When the game hits you with this struggling to keep up, actually, no, that means you're still definitely in the game, informing you that your team is getting thoroughly smacked, except, again, there's always a chance. But, of course, not all is lost because your team is struggling. Why does he keep, like, forcing the caps? Like, he's really trying to say, like, yo, struggling means it's over. The second that appears, your game is done, even though that's a complete lie. Several people told me on Twitter. See, he's just trying to, like, dismiss all the arguments as to why he's wrong. Zapdos can be the delineating factor between a team's crushing defeat and a close victory. Killing it nets you all those points. Yeah. And then still, for reasons I refuse to agree with, Pokemon Unite players just don't want to surrender. So, I mean, this is where I feel like the scoreboard would make the game immensely more toxic, where it's just like, look at that, it's 150 points, 200 points, even though Zapdos is worth 400 to 500. So it's like, yep, that I think there'd be more AFKs, more rage quits, more early surrender votes, even, like, more games that are lost that would have otherwise been won if the scoreboard was visible. Because, again, like, I don't trust the Pokemon Unite player base at this point. Like, a lot of them just have no idea what they're doing. Kids or not, like, I've seen just even, like, teenagers and adults that don't, like, this is their first MOBA, so they don't understand how these kinds of games work, and then it just leads to awful gameplay and decisions, or just being straight up outskilled. And then I guess with, like, after losing Zapdos even, and you're in a final minute hostage-taking situation, that's probably because the player's just mad at you at that point, and you wouldn't surrender. I've spite not surrendered, not because I'm like, oh man, we're still in it, not just like, you deserve to be punished, and I'm not gonna let you throw any more games for anyone else for at least another minute. You know, I'm keeping you from costing other people games. And that's kind of what this sounds like, you know. Handful are adamant that giving up is non-negotiable. They would rather meet their death in a losing battle, watching teammates wantingly hand over their life and experience and points to the opposing team instead of living to fight another day by simply surrendering. So I think that this guy, he wants to give up 4 or 5 minutes in, so he's just watching his team lose 4v5 instead of him actually, like, going in. That's another thing, like, when playing from behind, you just put yourself out there and hope for the best. Like, this guy just, like, not backing up his team, losing even harder, and then getting mad at them for not surrendering because he put them behind it even more. That's really the vibe I'm getting from this. And, like, yeah, it's like Pokemon Unite players sure don't like surrendering. Good amount of sarcasm right there, just like, what? Look at these people do their thing. When it's like, nah, there's reasons behind it, and I don't understand why you're refusing to validate them. Like, I very rarely have I seen anyone that's like, yeah, I'm not surrendering because I think this completely unsalvageable game is possible to come back in. Like, that just doesn't happen enough in Pokemon Unite to make an article about, for real. But yeah, if, like, the game is over, you know, throw yourself at that third Dreadnought. Maybe you get a steal, and then maybe that swings something. Throw yourself into that team fight, and maybe you get some comeback experience by picking out 1 or 2 people, because you are worth way less to them than they are to you. And then, like, some shenanigans happen at Zapdos, and the game can flip. It happens countless times. I think it's happening less and less because, like, people are understanding the value of Zapdos, but it still happens a surprising amount of time because that's how the game is made, and that really seems like what the devs are going for. You know, they're just trying to make it feel like I don't like overly aggressive comeback mechanics. I think it's unfair to the more skilled player. But as you can see, they're trying to make it to where it's like not the skilled player doesn't, or the skilled team, or like the team diff doesn't always win in this game because they want it to be more enjoyable for a broader casual audience. I disagree with that design philosophy, but as we can see, that seems to be the goal, and it seems to be working in a lot of different ways because comeback mechanics are still way too aggressive, and you don't see the score, but that tilts players when it shouldn't, and it seems like we have a reason for it, which I think is completely reasonable. So Pokemon Unite continues to be a weird game. We understand a bit more about it, but it's mostly the player base that's ruining the game more than the devs or the pay-to-win lie or anything like that. So there we go. Hope you guys wanted to give my thoughts on this, because I like I said, I don't understand how it's controversial or a hot take that you can't see the score. If you have common sense, it doesn't matter. But I guess that's why it matters to so many people in the Pokemon community. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.